Hello, friends. Welcome to the LeggLife podcast. My name is Adam.
My name is Sherry.
Sherry Beth, what episode is this?
Number 93.
93, and today's a very special day as we are releasing this podcast.
Yes.
It's coming out on September 23rd. Sherry, what day is that?
That's our anniversary.
What year is it this year?
18.
Well, technically it's 2023.
Oh my god.
It's our... It is our 18th
You're
anniversary.
A lot.
I know.
Here we go.
As soon as I said what year is it, I realized how you were going to answer, and I was like, I can be a little jerk. And so we thought on our anniversary, there's only one topic we really make sense to talk about.
Sure.
What is that?
Love.
Oh.
Cute.
Love. And we have three things we're going to kind of talk about.
Yeah.
Three sort of aspects of love. We're going to talk about love at first sight. Mm-hmm. Do we think that's real? Does it exist? Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about one true love.
Uh-huh.
Is that real? Does that exist? And then unconditional love.
Right.
Is that real? And does that exist?
I'm sensing a theme.
Are you?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're going to be talking about today. Sort of the love episode. Yeah. And here's what I'll say. We have talked about these things not just in preparation for this episode, but really for most of our relationship.
Yeah.
And I think some people may be surprised at some of our answers.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe. We'll leave it at that.
Yep.
So let's start with love at first sight. Sherry, do you believe in love at first sight, or should I walk by again?
Oh,
yes.
Boy. Here we go.
Zing. What do you think?
We might not make it to our 19th.
As we're recording this, we might not make it to our 18th.
Oh, dear God. No, I don't actually believe in love at first sight. Uh-huh. Aside from the Val Kilmer movie.
Wait, is that the movie that he loses his vision?
I think it's actually called At First Sight, but he is blind and he meets this person and...
Is that Sandra Bullock?
Oh, I don't think so. Oof, I don't know. It's been a long time since I've seen it. But he's blind, and then they meet, and then he has some kind of surgery to give him his eyesight. And,
that's right.
And then his eyesight goes away again, I think. I don't remember. But anyway, that's not what we're talking about. So
Welcome to the Val Kilmer episode.
Oh, jeez. But anyway, so I don't actually believe in love at first sight. I don't believe that you can truly love somebody until you actually know them. I think that there is lust at first sight, but I don't believe that there is actual love because you can't. I don't know. I think there's an element of most of love is actually knowing somebody and who they are, and
I completely agree with you. I don't believe in love at first sight. I think lust at first sight, yes. I think attraction at first sight, yes. I think a lot of things at first sight, not love.
Yep.
And I think it's because of exactly what you just said, that love is so much more than just that piece. Now, some people would say that that's an important piece, right? You have to be able to look at somebody and be attracted to them in order to love them.
Right.
I think that's probably true.
Yeah. Now, I will say, I don't know that I still don't think that it's love at first sight, but I do think that with certain people that you meet, I think that there are certain sparks or certain actual chemical reactions in your body. I think that is science, and I think that there's just some people that you have that with, and some people that you don't.
I agree with that.
I don't know that I would call that love at first sight. I think that is the spark that could be fanned into a flame, but I don't think that it's love instantly. So a spark
that could be fanned into a flame at first sight. Sure. That exists.
A spark at first sight.
Spark at first sight, that exists. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that sometimes people get themselves in trouble when a couple of things. Number one, when they're like, oh, I just don't have it wasn't love at first sight. There wasn't that initial connection. Mm-hmm. Sometimes connections are built over time. Yep. And I think people get written off too fast because of that. Yep. But on the other side of that, sometimes I think people are just oh, I'm so wildly attracted to them. And it's good, but the red flags are stacking up, so you need to get rid of them.
Right. I mean, I think that there just needs to be more than lust.
There needs to be more than lust,
or else it's just not. It's not love. It will not be love.
Yeah, good Good point.
Yeah.
So we're totally in agreement on the love at first sight thing.
Okay, good.
We think it's bogus.
Yes, I don't think that it's true.
But we also think the Val Kilmer movie's pretty good.
It's pretty. I mean, he's pretty, and so
he is pretty.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So
and there's actually a new movie on Netflix actually called Love at First Sight that I have added to our list, but I have not watched yet.
Isn't there a reality show called Love at First Sight as well? Wasn't there that love reality show where they like? I don't remember. I feel like there's a reality show. Some of you listening are screaming at at your device right now.
Our complete lack of knowledge about anything.
Let's move on to the next one. This is the one that I think people may be a little bit surprised.
Yeah.
We're talking about One True Love.
One True Love.
The fact
one
that
true pairing.
Yep, the OTP, if you will.
OTP, which you just had to learn yesterday from me.
I learned that from you, and so I stole it. Is that a book thing?
It's a book thing, yeah. The OTP.
You down with the OTP? Yeah, you know me. See, what's funny is that you were raised in a Christian household, so you don't even know the naughty by nature. You down with OPP?
I don't know what you're talking about.
It's horribly inappropriate.
All right.
And so we should probably move on quickly.
Okay.
So one true love is basically the idea that there is one person out there. There's a soulmate.
Yep.
You have your soulmate out there.
That at the beginning of everything,
yeah.
People were ripped in half, and each piece was sent to far corners of the world, and it's your lifelong goal to find the other piece of you.
What a movie that would make.
I mean, it's a whole story.
Do you believe in one true love?
I don't think so.
Oh.
The romantic side of me wants to believe that there are soulmates. I do actually believe that there are soulmates. I just actually don't think that there's one.
Okay, I have a soulmate question for you. Do you believe that that you can have soulmates out there that are not romantic?
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So there are people out there who you almost feels destined to intertwine with, or
this
to
person was supposed
with.
To be in my life.
Sometimes that's romantic, sometimes it's not.
Yes.
Okay.
I would say that you are my soulmate.
Oh.
But I don't think that I would say that you are the only person I could ever connect with like this.
Yeah.
I think that that's naive in a world of 7 billion people to say that there's one.
Right.
I also feel like that's really lonely, because what happens if you don't meet? And I think that, like, for you and me, like, I think that there was providence, there was destiny, there was things that happened to get us together, because there wouldn't have been any reason for this guy from Alaska and this girl from Indiana to actually meet.
There's an interesting series of events that led to that.
Yes. But if one of those things had just gone awry, that led us to each other, does that mean I just never would have found my soulmate? I don't actually think that's true. I don't think that... I don't know. I feel like that's just sort of naive and lonely.
Yeah. You ready for my answer?
Yeah.
I think you may be surprised at this answer.
Really?
Because I agree there's not one true love, no soulmate thing, but I am far more extreme in my belief.
Okay.
I actually genuinely believe this. I think that there are probably hundreds of people that you could marry, that I could marry, that any person could marry on the earth at any given time. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe thousands.
Yeah.
Because I don't believe it is so much about finding the right person as much as it is about becoming the right person. And so, to me, it's about the discovery of someone else as you are becoming yourself. I'm trying to think of how deep I want to get in, like philosophical I want to get into this answer.
It's a podcast. We can...
So, okay. So, to me, I have seen people do one of two things. Number one, pass up so many really, really good people because they didn't believe that this person was their quote-unquote soulmate. Like, I think there might be somebody better out there for me. Yeah, no crap. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, that is a search that never ends.
Yeah.
The question for me, it's like, if, God forbid, something happened to me and I died, I genuinely believe there are a large number of people out there in the world who you could get married to and love and have a beautiful life with. If you are true to who Sherry is, if you're continuing to develop into the person that God made you, if you are like on this path of this course of life that you are supposed to be walking, this journey of life, I think that as you're going through life, becoming yourself, you encounter people who are doing the same. And I think that love is not about discovering the right person as much as it is about just continuing for you to become that right person for yourself and then meeting people like that along the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would agree with that. And I think that there is... I'm just gonna agree with that. I don't know how else to like deep dive into that, but I think I agree with that. I think that I don't think that you should change who you are to become the person that you think you should be to meet somebody. I think that's trash, but becoming who you were meant to be, becoming more yourself is never going to be a bad thing. And if you find people along the way that can help you realize that and get there, I think that that's healthy.
And to go along with that, this thing that just like who you were. In fact, we were talking about this yesterday, not even in regards to this podcast.
Right.
That I have been married to probably 5 or 6 different Sherrys in the 18 years we've been together.
Correct.
And that's actually a really good thing because each of them have, in my opinion, been a more accurate representation of who you really are. Because you're discovering yourself, you're growing, you're changing, you're evolving, you're learning, and you're just continuing to change, to evolve.
Yeah.
And I think that we all need to do that. And one of the problems that happens is that this is one of the issues with like the whole like one true love soulmate thing. Is that what happens if the person like is, in your opinion, perfect for me? That's my one true love. But what is your one true love is version 1 of them, and you hate version 4 of them.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or what happens if version 2 of them or version 3 of them starts being abusive to you?
Right. Are they still your soulmate?
Well,
that's it.
But how? And that's actually going to get us into our next question in a minute. That can lead to some really unhealthy and abusive situations.
Yes, and actually, so that's what I was going to say. Is I think that is that can just be really unhealthy and really detrimental. Yep. I think that if you're just like, nope, this is my soulmate, I'm going to make it work, because what if it doesn't? And what if, like you said, like what if the first version of this person was your soulmate, but the 5th, 6th, 8th version of this person is not? Like, are you just stuck? I don't think that that's actually true.
And I think that for both of us, love, true love, or not even true love, a lifetime of love, is a commitment that I am going to love the you that I first met. I'm going to love the you today, and I'm also going to love the you that you become. Like, as you develop into that. And that my goal, like I genuinely believe this, that my primary goal as your husband is to like cultivate and help you become whatever the best, healthiest next version of yourself is.
Yes, and vice versa.
Yeah. It's like that's kind of our role.
And I also think that to just say like this person is my soulmate, that doesn't mean that your relationship isn't going to suck sometimes. That doesn't mean that every day is going to be like sunshine and rainbows. I think that you and I have a really great relationship, but we have to work at it. And I think that there's things that we have to do and choose to make this relationship work.
There are things for both of us in our marriage, both currently and over the last 18 years, that have, for you, been a challenge, and you would have changed this, you know what I mean, like quickly. There are things for me that didn't go the way I wanted, that I would have chosen differently. And it's been hard and it's been difficult, but at the end of the day, the commitment is still to, do I believe that Sherry's the person I'm supposed to be with? Yes. Am I inspired by the person that she is and is becoming 100 billion%? And it's just like, I loved version 1 of you, and whatever 100th version we're on now is still pretty dope.
Well, thanks. And I also think that there's, I don't know, like there have been times in our marriage where if we had chosen to let it break us, it would have.
100%.
We just chose not to let it break us.
Yeah.
Together, we chose that, and we were, we just kind of decided this is not going to break up our relationship, but it could.
It could, for sure.
And we've had a lot of those.
Yeah, we have. And here's the thing. Those aren't the things that ever make it into the vlogs.
Right.
Like those of you who have watched hundreds of hours of our life, there is an entire life that you all have never seen, because those are things that get edited away.
Right.
Right? Like the stuff that we've dealt with. In fact, I want to kind of move to the third point, because I think we're kind of naturally going there.
Yep.
And that is this concept of unconditional love. Can you unconditionally love somebody, and should you even do that?
I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
I think that as humans, there is never, ever an unconditional anything. I think that we have a finite understanding of everything. There's just no unconditional, infinite love that we could possibly possess.
Yep.
So I actually don't think that it's physically possible for somebody to unconditionally love somebody. I also don't think that it's terribly healthy.
Yep.
I think that if you're just like, nope, I'm going to love this person no matter what, I think that's where abuse and really just horrible things happen, because this person is choosing to love this person no matter what.
Yeah.
And I don't think that that's healthy.
We're on the exact same page with this.
Okay, good.
Unconditional love between humans, I don't think can happen, and I don't think should happen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it can happen because there is nothing, exactly as you said, there is nothing in this world that is dying that is unconditional, right?
Right.
There is nothing here that is unconditional. But then also, what unconditional love can do is it can say, you know what, I am committed to this person, and I will never not be committed to this person. But what happens when that person changes and starts to become a monster? What happens when the perfect, amazing, wonderful, loving person you married becomes controlling, manipulative, abusive, harmful, you know what I mean, narcissistic? I mean, the list goes on.
Right.
Like, what happens is all of a sudden you get stuck. So it's like, oh, I'm committed to them unconditionally.
Right.
Bullshit. Like,
right.
Absolute.
Right.
And we have a lot of people who come to us because you guys know that, we're Christians, used to be a pastor, lead a faith-based nonprofit. People who come to us and they tell us these stories of, to be honest with you, pretty horrible abuse or manipulation. And then they end with like, yeah, but I'm stuck because I'm a Christian and there's no way out. First of all, 100% not true.
Absolutely not true.
Absolutely. We have told so many people, like, the best option here, the healthiest option for you, the healthiest option for your kids, the healthiest option even for that other person is to get divorced and leave.
To walk away.
Or to a season of separation. Start with that.
Yep.
Right? Like, you need to remove yourself from a toxic, abusive, unhealthy environment. But there is this whole like, yeah, but like I made a commitment before God and to love them unconditionally. And it's just like, that is 100% not at all what I could ever justify based on who I believe God is shown to be in the Bible.
Right.
And what I think our common sense brain would tell us.
Right. I mean, you cannot tell me that God is all loving and all caring and truly cares for his children, but we'll look at a kid in his eye and just say, nope, you need to stay in that marriage even though you're having the shit beat out of you every day. That's not okay. That will never be okay. And I don't think that that's who God is.
And like, to me, the evidence of that is in the fact that we just see this descriptor so often through scripture as God is this perfect father, right? And a lot of people on earth struggle with that illustration because they've had a terrible earthly father, and so they struggle with this idea of a good father. Mm-hmm. But to me, I think of my mom. And if I was in a relationship where I was being abused,
mm-hmm. In whatever form that is, or emotional or physical or
financial abuse?
Yeah, any kind of abuse at all.
100%.
Yep.
Or manipulated or used,
mm-hmm.
or all of those things. My mom, who is, by the way, a great parent,
mm-hmm.
but flawed,
mm-hmm.
my mom, my loving mother, would do everything she could to get me out of that into a safe place.
Yep.
Because that's what really good parents do. They don't keep their kids in abusive situations because, I want to make sure the kids are older, or I want, like, God's just trying to teach you character, or you're going to learn a lesson from this, or like, think of the other people that will, like, exactly. And so to me, this concept of unconditional love, mm-hmm. especially when tied with some sort of a faith element, that it's like, oh, I made a commitment before God.
And maybe you did to a different version of who this person is.
100%.
And who this person is not who you made this commitment to. And maybe that commitment needs to go away because that person doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. And so I think that like...
So that commitment died with that person.
So to me, unconditional love, no.
Right.
Now, we've said no to all of these. But one of the things I do want to talk a little bit about, Sherry, is like, so what does it look like?
Yeah, right. So I do think that like the unconditional love doesn't necessarily... I don't think that it should exist. I don't think that it does. Now, I do think that there is a huge element of choosing to love somebody.
Just so you guys know, we haven't talked about this. In fact, what we said is we were just going to answer those 3 questions and then be done. And so I just kind of sprung this last little bit on Sherry. And I feel bad about that. But I can already tell that where you're going is exactly what I had hoped you would like take us to.
Okay, good. Because like we said earlier, our marriage is not perfect. Yep. We have a good marriage. We have a really good friendship. But we still have to work at it. There is still an element of choosing to love him.
Yeah.
Now, if he was abusive in any realm, like we said, it doesn't just have to be physical, then there needs to be a conversation I need to have with myself. And should I continue to put myself in that abusive situation? I think no.
Yeah.
Adam is not abusive. And so, there are things that we have to work at. There's things that irritate me. There's things that irritate him. There's, things that we just have to choose to love each other through.
Yes.
So not unconditional, just choice, I think.
Choice to me is the exact right word. Because the choice is easy when things are good.
Oh, yeah.
Right? When marriage is going great, when maybe you first fall in love, there's the attraction, there's the passion, there's the honeymoon stage, there's all of the first, there's the discovery of each other, there's the discovery of relationship, there's all of this kind of stuff.
The excitement and the butterflies.
Yeah.
Yep.
Choice can feel really easy. But the problem is that choice gets hard when tough times come.
Yeah.
And we both have had to say, and it's not just choosing to love, it's, you know what? I'm going to choose, even though I'm like really pissed at Sherry, I'm still going to choose to like be kind to her, and I'm still going to choose to like treat you the way that I believe you deserve to be treated. Right? Like, do I want to? No. I'm pissed. But like I'm going to make the choice for good rather than for harm or for evil.
Yep.
Sometimes I'm going to make the choice, for you over me. It's making the choice. It's not just like, oh, I'm just going to choose to love you. It's also, I'm going to choose to cultivate what I believe is beautiful in you. And I think that is the exact right word. Now, sometimes that choice, the healthiest choice, is to say that this relationship needs to end or change.
Yep.
Sometimes the most unhealthy decision is to choose to stay, even though it might be the decision that seems to make sense or that seems to be the right one. Sometimes that's the most unhealthy one. But I think every day it's that choice that every single day of our marriage, all 18 years, both of us have had the opportunity to wake up and we get to choose what kind of person we're going to be to each other.
Yep.
And we get to choose, like, you do a great job of helping me, and I think we've talked about this in maybe the relationship series we did, of, like, helping me become the best version of myself that I can, but that's not naturally who you are.
Right.
But you make that choice.
But I make that choice because I do love you, and I want to cultivate that. I want you to be the truest form of you.
Yeah.
And that's scary because, just like you said, you've been married to probably 5 or 6 different versions of me. And same, like,
exactly.
You are not the person that I married.
Nope.
For the better, I think. I think that you and I have both grown in good ways. But I think that there's still an element of like fear in that. Like if I continue to cultivate who you truly are, will there come a version of you that is not compatible with the version of me?
And have you, over the last few years, as you've just really stepped into learning your voice, using your voice, even like dyeing your hair, nose piercings, tattoos, all of that, is there a part of that where you're just like, I hope this isn't too much? Like, I hope...
Yes. And honestly, I ask you, how many times a week do I ask you if you still like my hair?
Do you still like my hair? Do you still like my hair?
Or my piercing, or like my tattoos or whatever. Like, I mean, there's some insecurity in that too, because I don't want to become a version of me that you don't like anymore.
Wow. Yeah.
But I still also want to continue becoming the version of me that I should be and that I'm meant to be. So there's some fear and there's some insecurity in changing.
Yeah.
I think that it's still necessary.
I get that. I agree with that. Okay, last question. When you think back to 18 years, what is the one thing that you think has helped us or helped you? What's been like what's the thing that has kept this working, kept us working? The thing, like your one pro tip?
I think our friendship, I think, is the biggest. We had such a good foundation before we became romantic at all. And I understand that like not everybody can do that, and not everybody, I don't think that that's like a requirement, but I think that for us that was so important because we had 7 years of very honest conversations before we became romantic at all. And so we already had that foundation of, I can tell this person anything and I know you're not going to judge me, you're not going to cut me out, because you hadn't in 7 years. In the midst of some really hard things. Like you and I have both gone through some really, truly horrible things before we became like romantic at all.
That's true.
So I think that's the biggest thing for me is just our friendship. And I know that even when I'm irritated at you or like when we're just having a bad day or a bad week or whatever, I always know that we have our friendship to fall back on, and that I know that I can be honest with you and just be like, I don't like you right now. And we're going to talk through this, and we're going to figure this out. And so for me, that's me.
So mine is very similar to yours. In fact, you kind of hit on mine right there at the end. Mine is the way we communicate. And I do think we communicate so well because of our friendship, because that's like our background. You and I talk about everything. And even really hard things, and maybe especially really hard things. Like when there's something in our marriage that is just like a huge road bump or a huge chasm or a huge pit, whatever it is, we have no problem talking very honestly about that.
And there's almost always tears involved, at least on my end.
Yeah, absolutely. But here's the thing.
Because I can't do anything emotional without being completely emotional.
But I feel like our ability to say that like this is worth the tears and the awkwardness and the hard part, rather than if we didn't talk about that stuff, you just bury it down and like bitterness and cynicism, and eventually it blows up.
It festers.
And that's the thing I think, is that because we constantly are communicating about great things, like, I mean, everything from like, okay, what's our calendar look like this week? Like, what's the travel schedule the next 2 months? If that's our travel schedule the next 2 months, when are our date nights are going to be? What is the day that we're going to go screen free? When are we, you know what I mean? We're just talking about like life stuff, but then also really good stuff. How's work going? Like, tell me about all the good stuff. But then, like, we also do that with the hard stuff.
I don't like how you're making me feel right now.
That's right. We don't that's the thing. Right. We don't shy away from those conversations.
Right.
And I feel like while there will be defensiveness in it sometimes, I don't feel like we ever dig our heels in long term. I feel like that because we talk about this stuff all of the time, it keeps it from festering and getting infected.
Right. It never gets infected. And I also think that there's also, because we have this mutual respect for each other, that if I say, I don't like how you're making me feel in this situation, there might be some defensiveness, like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way. But then almost always we will come to this point where you don't want me to feel that way. And so what do you need to do to change what you're doing to stop making me feel that way? And I think that there's, whether it's an apology, whether it's a fuller explanation, maybe I was misunderstanding something, like there's just, I think that we have this mutual respect for each other that prevents us from only being defensive.
Yeah. I can't believe you don't think I'm your one true love. I'm shocked at that. You think it's Val Kilmer. I'm just kidding. Maybe. I mean... Here's the thing. I'm going to be really honest. Val Kilmer walks through the door. I'm like, you know what, Sherry? We had a great run. I love you. Enjoy your life. Godspeed. Like, you know what?
He was like, you need to choose.
Yeah, but like, you know what? Choose Val. He's Val Kilmer. Just go with him.
He's just very pretty.
Yeah. So...
He's also kind of old now.
Well, I also am kind of old now. Let's be very honest.
We're all kind of old now.
Yeah, we're all kind of old now.
Well, damn.
So there you go. We do not believe in love at first sight. We don't believe in one true love or soulmates. We don't even believe in unconditional love. Happy anniversary. See you guys.
Happy
no, I'm just kidding.
anniversary.
It's like, wow, man, what a shitty love episode.
Oh, no.
No, but I do think that it takes time, it takes choice, it takes work. It takes being willing to sacrifice your best interest for the best interest of the other person, to learn to become the... Again, I've said this before, that I think that one of my primary jobs is to be the world's foremost leading expert on Sherry, the things that bring her life, the things that lift her up, the things that also like make her feel torn down or unseen. And then my job is to like cultivate all of the good while avoiding all of that bad. Right. And so it takes work, and it's like my life would look very different if every single day I was like, you know what? I'm doing what Adam wants today.
Right.
But that's not what love is. That's not what marriage is. It's the best interest of the other person, even at the times at the expense of your best interest.
Yes, and I think that it's compromising, and it's and I think that if you find yourself in a relationship where you are the only one giving and giving and giving, that's not a relationship, because a relationship takes two. And I think that it's probably time to get out. Yeah,
I do. I do think that's. I mean, you guys, we have so many people who have reached out to us about this and just been like, "What do I do?" Like,
and I also feel like, and I feel like I maybe said something about this. I don't know if it was about this topic, but I think that if you are if you are reaching out to people to ask what they think you should do, I think you already know. I think you already know what you need to do, and you're just looking for confirmation, or I don't know, maybe you think that it's not the right thing, and so you're looking for people to tell you that it's not the right thing to do. And but I still think that you already know what you need to do.
And here's the thing I will say, is that I don't believe that every person in the world is like falls into romantic love and finds that happy marriage. But let me put this out there. I do believe that every single one of us were created to know, in the context of relationship, that we are loved and who have people that love us and that we can love. Sometimes that looks like a husband. Sometimes that looks like a wife. Sometimes that looks like a friend group or a just kind of covenant partner. Sometimes, you know what I mean? Like it can. It doesn't
have to be romantic love, but every person is worthy of love.
Yes.
And every person is worthy of giving love. Yep.
And I think that, so it looks different just because it's like, well, I've never been married or I've never had that. That doesn't mean that you still don't have a need for love and a need to love.
And that doesn't mean that you don't have a soulmate.
Boom.
Because again, I don't think that soulmates have to be romantic.
I completely agree with that.
I think that that's something that society has sort of taken and run with, that soulmates are this romantic notion, but I don't necessarily think that's true.
So good.
Yeah.
Frickin' Val Kilmer.
Now I kind of want to watch that movie. I feel like maybe we should find that and watch it this weekend.
On our anniversary trip?
On our anniversary.
Frickin' Val Kilmer. So here's what I want to know, you guys. Head over to YouTube, search LeggLife Podcast, find this love episode, and tell us, what are your guys' thoughts on love at first sight, one true love or soulmates, unconditional love?
Yep.
Do you think those things exist? Should those things exist? Leave a comment on the video and let us know, because I'm always intrigued to hear your thoughts, whether they agree with us or whether they don't at all.
Right. And the thing is, you are allowed to disagree with us.
Oh my God, 100%.
And if you think that we're wrong, that's okay. I would prefer that you be nice about letting us know that you think we're wrong.
And if you think we're wrong, I want to know, like, explain, tell me. I want to know, like, help me learn. If there is something that, like, we believe or that we do that is wrong, would love to know. And
or that you just have a different opinion on.
Yeah, would love to have the opportunity to think differently.
Yep.
Also, who would you guys think Sherry should choose, me or Val Kilmer? Do you guys think Sherry should choose me or Val Kilmer?
Can we talk about Val Kilmer in The Saint, please, for just a second? How great is that freaking movie?
But Kilmer Life wouldn't be as good of a YouTube channel. LeggLife sounds better.
Well, sure.
He has more money.
He has more money.
Friends, we love you guys so much.
He could buy me more books.
Checkmate, Val Kilmer. Dang it. What if Val Kilmer was a LeggLife listener and we had no clue?
Oh, God.
And he's sitting there like, what is going on?
Not gonna. I would be mortified.
Val, I will fight you to the death. All right. We love you guys so much. We'll see you on the next LeggLife podcast. Bye.